Locusts are related to grasshoppers, and they both look similar. In solitary phase, their behavior is similar to the grasshopper, but it differs significantly in the gregarious phase. We examined the locusts by investigating their feeding system, the way they eat, and how their mouth and gut support their digestion. So we divided this video into 3 parts: the feeding, the mouth, and the gut of locusts. We starved 4 locusts overnight to increase the chance of the locusts being attracted to food. They were given rose leaves painted with sugar and salt solutions. 4 leaves were placed without any solution on it. The solutions were made by dissolving sugar and salt into different beakers that contained warm water. 15 grams of sugar and salt were dissolved in 50 milliliters of water. We had to ensure that the solutions were concentrated enough so that the experiment would show the differences of food preference of the locusts. Afterwards, the leaves were placed on 3 different petri dishes which were labelled as sugar, salt or plain. 4 leaves which were painted with the same solutions were put in each dish. The locusts were put in a cage for 2 days with 12 leaves given as the food. On the next day, half of the sugar leaves were eaten, some of the plain leaves were eaten, and the salt leaves were barely eaten. On the second day, almost all the sugar leaves were eaten and most of the plain leaves were also eaten. However, a lot of salt leaves were untouched. The plain and the salt leaves have actually been mixed together and was hard to distinguish between each other. However, we were able to identify the salt leaves as they were shrunk due to osmosis. The leaves with sugar solutions were eaten the most and the ones with salt were eaten the least. Therefore, we concluded that the locusts prefer leaves with higher sugar concentration and they dislike those with higher salt concentration. The locust's mouth has a fairly different structure compared to the mouth of the humans. Copious saliva is produced by a pair of salivary glands and it secretes it onto the food before it picks the food up and chews it. This moistens the food and it is the first step of chemical digestion as the enzymes break down the large insoluble food. While humans have many teeth to cut and grind the food in our mouth, locusts have 2 mandibles in each side which have a sharp cutting surface and a rather smooth grinding surface. They move sideways and grasp the food to break them down. The upper lip covers and protects other mouth parts and it prevents food from falling out of the mouth. Maxilla is a soft lower jaw and there are 2 of them. They hold and push the food into the mouth. Maxillary pulps are sensitive and taste the food. Labium is a lower lip at the back which prevents food from falling out the mouth. The alimentary canal of the locust consists of foregut, midgut and hindgut. The food is pushed into the pharynx and down through narrow esophagus into the crop, where the food is mixed with more saliva for further chemical digestion. Then it travels to the proventriculus and undergo a mechanical digestion which breaks up the food into fine particles. It also has the same function with a kidney of human as it acts like a filter preventing overlarge particles passing into the midgut. The midgut is separated from the foregut by a valve. It is a site for the absorption of the nutrients from the food. It contains a loose chitinous lining and the peritrophic membrane, which protects the stomach from abrasion. It is also very permeable, which allows the digested food to be absorbed efficiently. The hindgut consists of pylorus, intestine, and rectum. It is thinner and more permeable than the foregut, which allows some absorption to occur. The main function of the hindgut is to transport the waste matter to the anus and to reabsorb the salts, amino acids, and a lot of water from the food. This process is similar to the selective reabsorption in the human kidneys. The fat of the locust surrounds the gut and it stores the products of digestion such as glycogen, protein, and fat molecules.